Hello, friends. It's good to be with you again. In my Bible study last Monday, got into a real interesting conversation. We're going through the Old Testament. We're in the book of Exodus. We came to Exodus chapter 20, where we have the 10 Commandments. And one of my dear friends in the class asked me a good question, very sincere. He said, "Jeff, are the 10 Commandments a good thing or a bad thing?" And I think my first reaction wasn't quite right. I said, well, we don't subscribe or ascribe to the law anymore. Jesus is our new covenant. And basically, I kind of just shoved the 10 Commandments to the back of the conversation. But here's what I want to do. I want to portray it in a different light. Let me read the 10 Commandments and let's see what you think. The first one, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet. I mean, honestly, those are really good. If we subscribe to the 10 Commandments, we would have a very healthy life. I mean, think of it. There'd be no reason to have a police department. You wouldn't need a bank. It would change a lot if we could only live by those 10 Commandments. And I think that's where the rub is. God gave them to us. There is nothing wrong with them. Absolutely nothing. The thing is, don't think for a second, the minute God gave Moses those 10 Commandments, he knew we would not be able to live up to them. And so what I'd like to do is just make a short comparison between the 10 Commandments and grace, or as I like to call it, Mount Sinai versus Mount Zion. Mount Sinai is where God spoke to Moses, gave the 10 Commandments. Mount Zion is where we find the temple and actually where Christ was crucified. So we have Christ and grace versus the law and the 10 Commandments. Now, there's a short little poem I'd like to read that has to do with just the 10 Commandments. Very short. It says this: "To run and work the law commands, but gives me neither feet nor hands." The 10 Commandments are good, but we cannot fulfill them. And so I'd like to give a couple of examples. Yes, God gave the 10 Commandments and they are good. However, their purpose was as a mirror. It was as a set of laws to judge our actions. For instance, if you had a smudge on your face, just a dirt spot, and you looked in the mirror, that mirror would tell you where you needed some help, right? But you wouldn't take the mirror off the wall and try to rub the dirt spot off. No, you'd take a warm washcloth with some soap and wash it off. That warm washcloth is the grace of Christ and Christ. That is what Christ did. You see, when we take the law away, as Christ did, we take the penalty away. And we're indebted to Christ, but it's out of obedience, not out of fear of not fulfilling the law. Let me say this. On the 101 freeway out here, there is a speed limit sign that says 65 miles an hour. So if you're going 75 or 80, you just might have a CHP pull up behind you and write you a ticket for going over the speed limit. Let's say you took all the laws of the speed limit away. You took those signs down. There's no chance you're getting a ticket for going faster than the speed limit. There is no speed limit. Christ has taken the law in which we were judged away. Now, for us, this should give us an extreme sense of gratification. And so out of obedience to Christ and love of what Christ did, we actually fulfill the law. Let me say this. Let me kind of close with these two things. Number one, you remember the Pharisee that was trying to be a little wise with Jesus and said, "Oh, Master, which of the 10 Commandments are the greatest?" And Christ said, "Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself." Well, he said that all the commandments were contained in those 2 commandments. If you fulfill those, you're fulfilling all 10. But even better than that, look at this. The second you die, if you have come to faith in Jesus, the second you die, you actually have fulfilled all 10 commandments in this. When God the Father looks at you, he does not see you. He sees his perfect Son. And obviously, Jesus was perfect, fulfilled all 10 commandments. So in essence, the second we receive Christ, we have fulfilled the 10 commandments. And at least in God's eyes, there's perfection there. This gives us all the more motive and will to live for Christ and to love the Lord thy God with all our heart and treat our neighbor as ourselves. I hope that clarifies a little bit of it. And it's been good to be with you. I will see you next week.